I'm here to talk about how that we have the creation of creation. And it comes through the human aperture. And what a narcissist thinks I just said is that when you have children, that's it. People are the creation of creation. And if you look at how they operate, narcissists, and or the mind, like a mind that hasn't been seen yet for what it is by the awareness, it will live itself under the assumption that it is all that there is as far as a mind. And people, right? People. It's all there is. So that's kind of an easy thing to fall into, like to say, there isn't anything more than just getting lost with people. You have to really get involved with people. People, and it's like, why not see that we have a reality? The truth about people is that they're here. They're not falling off the face of the earth, whether they run away from each other as far as they can, apart or together. They are here. So just to try and talk to the toddler, narcissist, about just presence of being. That is being human being. We're like, that saying, you're a human being, not a human doing. Man, you're very privileged to be able to feel that away from people, because people will interfere with being. The mind interferes with being, because the mind can't have being. It's going to create a lot of noise, really, just to be there. Just so that it can try to be there. And now I turn my attention to behavioral patterning, and one of the more far out ones is of the narcissist, who will all of a sudden, and this is behind closed doors. They live in cult like gatherings, which can stem out to churches come first in mind, but there is an entire society out there that is just playing a game about, like, well, first of all, how much of a trickster or gaslighter are you? I guess whether it be virtue signaling with the cognitive dissonance altogether, that has no idea that there is no kind of truth that they are basing their mentality in at all. Again, blind to the mind, and then you have a certain phenomenon going out there, just moving in droves of just human beings that don't know that they have a mind, which is the disease. In the East, mind and illness are synonymous. Especially, I mean, really, if you don't know the nature of it, and if you don't really, nobody has ever sat you down and talked about the nature of the mind versus the nature of reality. Really, it doesn't need to be talked about too much. But if you're around people who are achieved in having made that separation, they know how to be with kids who, it's kind of like a guide, right? I mean, who a guide is needed, a shaman is needed when people are taking psychedelics, even mushrooms. if you ask me, even just drinking a glass of water nowadays with these fucking narcissists, man, it's like, can you sit down and did you even enjoy it? I mean, do you even know that there's a difference out there? And, I don't like talking about them at all. But you can it's all intertwined. We are all relating it now. We're all being able to see what it is on the planet that we're dealing with. There's only two types of people. One is purely mind oriented, and that is, boy, that's the narcissist, man. That's the mental cases out there that at all costs they're going to say that the mind is far more real. It's definitely, it's happening. No, this is way more important than the creation of creation, the fact of creation, what it really is to be within on the leading edge of creation. Certainly has nothing to do with your mind. It has everything to do with reality. See, now, there needs to be a conversation about reality versus the mind. There needs to be more conversations about it, and you cannot have it done without being somebody who has achieved going beyond mind. And if you ask me, meditation is the answer. Ask me. If you ask anybody, what is the answer? Well, meditation is it. Well, how do you do meditation? Turn on an air conditioner and focus on the sound more than your mind. Notice the difference between that sound and your mind. If you, that's in case you can't go out to a forest, but you don't need to do anything first. It's to start meditating and to really tap into the creation of creation, your real life, which is reality, which as soon as you start getting little whiffs of it, you don't go back. You're like, oh my God. And your mind is not capable of comprehending that very well. It could take some people 2 weeks. It'll take some people 2 years to be able to digest an actual truth. They call it truth withdrawal, or what do they call it? Like truth sickness. It's like, some people do it just fine. It takes them 2 weeks to go, get over that. Whoa. Yeah, I already knew that it was full of non-human beings out there, the political parties and all the narcissists out there. Non-human babies, because, okay, let's look at the cerebral narcissist. Most fascinating thing, and really it's a fascinating subject matter. But I've already got it reduced down. I've been looking at it, and it's like, okay, so we're just talking about people that are entrapped in the mind, and the mind is a house of mirrors. The cerebral narcissist is the most common one found out there, anywhere from movie watching people that get, okay, now it's really just a conscious thing to get your signs out of the movie about everything. Get the sign out of it, get the latest subliminal message coming out of the movie theaters. And it's like, still, you're looking outwards, and you're letting that stuff lead your perception around. And it's really actually a bad addiction. It's a form of meditating that sucks, because you're still entrapped in your mind. This is a long ass fucking video, and I hope somebody enjoys it. It's Jupiter at the very beginning of Aries now. It's the 21st of December. Happy winter solstice. For me, and I think everybody can say the same thing, and especially with this Mars transit, it's still going backwards. Mars is remaining retrograde until January 13th or so, or something like this. And so Mars is Aries. It rules Aries, rules our drive, our physical bodies, and our drive, our sex drives, our warrior as human beings. And so Jupiter goes there, into there. It's there now. while Mars has been retrograde for a while, babes, and Mars retrograde, okay, it was square to Neptune. Okay, now I'm Mars ruled. With this Mars retrograde, I've been like basically dysfunction. I've been extremely like okay, physically withdrawn. I mean, I just don't feel like I'm a very physical person. Anybody that knows me, I mean, you're surprised I didn't flex yet, but I'm acting, it's not bullshitting. Okay, I'm Aries rising, and we're going to flex for you if we think that you like us. Everybody thinks we're arrogant, and it's like, no, we're just physical people. And please don't disregard the physical. All of your sports playing, fucking acrobatic, outdoorsmen, high flying amazements are out there. The Aries probably getting it done first before you, because they don't hesitate, they don't wait, and they know that the only time is now. So anyway, having Mars retrograde there in Gemini, no less. Okay, so Gemini rules communications. There's a lot that we're going to need to say, and we are going to say it, and it's going to poke right out for all of humanity come January, middle of January. It's about the 12th, I think, that Mars starts to go retrograde. At that time, babe, it's just going to be like everybody's going to put their finally. There's a lot of emotional repression that has been happening. That, you know what? This Mars retrograde. Thanks for listening to all this. Okay, I'm going to try and keep it less than 20 minutes. The Mars retrograde has been reminding me of, I don't really do this, and this is like a pet peeve of mine, but there's that movie called They Live. And I didn't really watch like the whole thing. I just know that it's there, and I see what they're saying, like, look at this movie. And so They Live. There's a scene in it where the two human beings, I think it's a black guy and a white guy, who are uncovering this trippy thing with these glasses, about all of civilization, I guess. Uh, there's a scene with those two guys fighting, and it's not just a 2 minute brawl and then they get in a car and run away or something. They are literally fighting physically for like I think fucking a quarter of the movie or half of the movie is just this fighting scene. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason. It's because man's perception, who it just takes so long for the last one to finally snap in. And so this Mars retrograde, pardon me, yay, it's getting ready for wake and bake, baby, 7 in the morning. Anyway, Mars retrograde, babe, this long, reminds me of that scene, where, okay, so it's having to do with our emotions, our repressed emotions, Mars going backwards. We're just kind of, we have a lot to communicate. It's building up in our bodies. I hope you have been able to take care of your body through this time. Really get a lot of rest. And notice how there's a lot of nervous energy to be spent, and a lot of it is emotional. We live within an emotional repressed society, and people do not communicate, and they're just full of emotions, and they don't communicate, they don't communicate, they don't communicate. This is happening with Mars going retrograde. It's like pulling back this rubber band, this fucking slingshot. And then when it's going to release, when it gets in the early degree Gemini, which I love, and then whoop, in January, and then everybody's going to start talking. All of those emotionally repressed, and all of those, even me, I'm looking at things, I'm going, wait a minute, especially since it was squaring Neptune, and we're just getting over a sun square Neptune now, and and the Venus just popped out. It just emerged. Venus is now visible in the evening sky for the Western Hemisphere. For 2 days now. It's just she has been there behind the sun for like a month. Anyway, there's some videos talking about that. And I have 5 planets in rulership of Venus, even though I'm Mars ruled. Venus is I'm Libra Sun. Anyway, thanks for listening to all this, and so that the big energy that almost will be, I feel like, for me as an Aries rising, but you need to learn how to meditate. Learn that it's even between the time between 3 and 5 in the morning. You can do this while you're laying in bed. You can get in the information, and you can begin to work and solve problems. It's not always a stressful time when you wake up, and really you're supposed to listen to your life. And a lot of times that's the only time that you're really going to be able to going to be called to do it. You live a fake life. That's why. The more you're getting disrupted, you are immersed in that fake life, which is just deception. Really, it's that Neptune. Neptune and Mars really has been square. And it's like, excuse me, narcissists, like they are just gaslighting all the way home and pulling the wool over the eyes and let's put on every multicolored glass eye on and talk about they live, babe. And it's like, how do we talk about this? But we are that Mars pulling back in Gemini and is going to release when it goes forward, babe. While Jupiter is in Aries, I have to look at the degree, but it's really whipping ass through Aries. Oh, excuse my language. It's Jupiter moving very quickly through Aries, and by the time it's in May, I think, or is it in March? It actually hits Taurus, and that's like, right. Well, we waited all this time for Jupiter to get bust into Aries, which is like with the Mars being released in the sign of communication, which is, man, all kinds of different releases, because there's many different Gemini rules many different ways of communicating and logging it in and getting it out and dishing it out in books and everything that has to do with it, phones and and short trip and smoke signal and whatever. It's going to be happening. And boy, oh boy, to me, it's almost like, okay, we're going to try and stick 10 pounds of shit through a 1 pound sieve. You know, but that's why I recommend meditation. Take care of your body, get a lot of physical exercise, exert yourself properly, nervous system. Watch your mind the whole time. That's the way you meditate. Get into a physical activity. That's why they say, well, to meditate, you just sit down and breathe. And watch your breath. What you're doing is you're watching your breath. And, oh, God, and if you can breathe in and out 6 times, you don't know that's, there is a song that they sing. And I will wrap it up right here. It just, I don't know what the first word she says, but it's like, love. All I need is the air that I breathe and to love you. That's it. There is a world out there that is running with their heads cut off, and they don't know that it's just for the sake of hiding in that activity. They're hiding from how simple it really is. And what they're running out there, what I say is they're running like, whose idea was it? Is it their idea? No, it's a stencil. And they're like, okay, let's put it on every day. And they take it off, and it's not even their idea, right? But they're like, I got it in the morning, and they're running down the road every day and get down the freeway and do it and work somebody else's thing. What is it? Man, just follow the money and you'll see it's preying on the human being, their well-beings, possible well-beings. Really, they don't want people to be strong. They want them to be always worn down and distracted, because there is something so simple that involves our existential reality that tags into the upper atmospheres, which is outer space, that they have been hiding. And it could probably have only taken 150 years to completely blindfold us. Why we think it's 2,000 years ago and all this stuff, just a thought. Somebody told you that and you read a book. Wow. Talk about a piss poor way to live, and they live. Put your glasses on. What is it really trying to tell you?